Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown here with Ryan Graham,
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber,
Hello.
and this is State of Atlanta. Welcome back, guys. A little technical difficulties. I don't think, well, I know we're not live streaming. It wouldn't work, but we'll get through it somehow, some way.
It's close enough.
Shit happens.
We're going old school.
Our tens of fans that watch us streaming will be unable to tonight.
I was told by a Lafayette fan that we have 38 viewers, and so I invited him to come on so we'd have 39. So
That's more viewers than I would expect for me. Like forever, right? I mean, I've never thought I could attract 38 people to watch me just.
Oh,
talk
yes,
with
you
my buddies.
can. You can put some feet up there. You'll get some viewers.
yeah,
That's
there
what
you
I'm
go.
talking about.
No,
I would.
Over the weekend, I found myself commenting on Twitter to some of the Lafayette posts about the baseball games going on, and now we lost Ryan.
Get his feet ready. What are you talking about?
Exactly. He had moisturize, I guess.
What are our friends in Lafayette talking about?
Well, they were just about, we had the series down there in baseball, and it didn't go our way, and they were being like super harsh, which is fine. I couldn't care any less what they think about us, but I mean, as harsh as they were being, they obviously got to care about us, because you're not that harsh about somebody you don't care about, right?
Aww, they love us.
Yeah. So I just kind of made, I guess my basic line was that I think they were talking about us, going to conference, trading us for Louisiana Tech and from Conference USA or whatever. Excuse me. And I was like, well, at least you guys acknowledge that we have options when it comes to conferences. Lafayette's peaked in the Sun Belt and will never be in a different conference.
Ooh,
So
damn. I like it, but it's
that rustled some feathers, I believe.
Yeah, you can replace us with Louisiana Tech from USA when we get promoted.
When we leave.
That's
when
cool.
we go somewhere else.
That's like fine.
Wouldn't that
it's not even. It's all good. You guys are gonna whatever.
Yeah, that'd be like the Simpsons, right? Predicting the future. They predicted our future. We're going to leave the conference, move up to the American. Louisiana Tech slides right into some.
I do believe they were saying exchanges within the Conference USA with Louisiana Tech. But
everything I've heard is that Louisiana Tech would not be invited because of Lafayette not wanting to have another in-state rival.
Their undying love for each other.
I think that had been the case for a while. I believe it's getting sides are getting a little softer on both ends of it, because Louisiana Tech was known for their head coach back in the day talking about Lafayette Monroe, and maybe one day they could move up to the Conference USA, kind of like talking how much better they were. But obviously since then, the two conferences have separated themselves on a competitive standpoint, big time. And so the Lafayette folk have that grudge on their shoulder, but I think the Louisiana Tech fans have started to realize after the implosion of Conference USA and seeing Marshall and Old Dominion, Southern Miss come over here, that they'd probably be better suited in this conference than what the current Conference USA is. I mean, I have no love for Louisiana Tech or the other schools, the legacy schools in Conference USA, but I do feel bad for them. Those fans, I feel bad for all of the Western Kentucky fans, the Middle Tennessee fans, to be stuck with the likes of Kennesaw State and Delaware, Missouri State, whatever the weird school, Sam Houston they brought in, from Texas. I mean, like, wow, that is an FCS conference. They make fun of the move ups in the Sun Belt, but like so many all at once, that's crazy.
And I guess if you're like a president of a university, you got to be thinking, if you go to Conference USA, which traditionally is the conference the American raids from, you got to have a plan to get out of there when you go in. So you don't go in there and be like, yeah, this is great, I love this, because you know that there'll be changes in conferences and the Americans are going to come and take all the good teams, and then you're stuck there with, well, this round not very good leftovers, and then you bring up a bunch of FCS teams. So I'm kind of glad we didn't go there. Although if we did, I still don't know if we'd have a plan to get out.
Yeah, I can't imagine there being any team in the Conference USA that would not want to stay in Conference USA right now. Or sorry, would want to stay in the Conference USA. They would not want out.
It could have been us. So, think about it.
We talk about it all the time. Apparently we had that offer for either Conference USA or Sun Belt, and we chose Sun Belt because of the relationship between Levick and Carl Benson.
And it was right. It was the right choice.
2 good decisions on Cheryl Levick: office furniture in the sports arena and the Sun Belt.
Well, is it the right decision? Because had we gone into Conference USA, honestly, the
We take
competition
the ticket.
the competition may have not been as tough. Maybe it wouldn't have been as hard of a road at the beginning, and then also we would have easily taken that call up to the
You
American
sure?
when
You
they
sure?
rated. Yeah, I think that we would be there, but
I
probably
don't
before
know.
Charlotte or North Texas.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure what we would have done. We were probably like, no, we're good. We'll stay here.
Yeah, I think like where we're at, I feel like we've exceeded where we would have been at CUSA, and it's hard to tell either way, right? Because we might have got promoted out of CUSA before. Now I don't see that happening. Now I would think that a Sunbelt team would be promoted before, but maybe we would have gotten out before that switch happened. I don't know.
I think the only way that a Conference USA sees themselves getting out of that conference right now is,
Back to
if
FCS.
back to FCS, if the Sun Belt does lose a team and then we bring somebody over like we did with the other 3 Conference USA teams. But I still really feel like, and I guess the landscape is too wild and crazy and hectic right now, but I still feel like you're going to see an Eastern block of the Sun Belt break off into its own conference eventually. I mean, I guess there are too many things going on right now, but I really feel like that's the future. 14 teams spread out as far as we are just doesn't make as much sense as having, 8 to 10 teams right there in 3 or 4 states all interconnected.
Do we
Look,
stay in this East Conference?
I think
Do
for
we
now
make
we
it
would.
in? Yeah.
I think we'd be
All
in.
right.
I am very often wrong about this stuff because I don't know why, but
You could say you don't care.
no, I do care. I think
Okay.
it's really interesting. I'm just typically wrong because I guess they just have their conversations and there's a lot of context that just isn't very public, and so lots of people are wrong. But I would imagine there are a lot of dominoes that have to fall before a Sunbelt split happens, because I would be willing to bet that most of our university presidents are in wait and see mode on
Right.
like what is going to happen right now at the top, and then how are those cards going to fall, and then what are we going to, like, how do you react to that? Almost like have some plans in your back pocket if you're doing it
Mhm.
right, but like also you just don't know what the hell these guys are doing.
I agree with you as well. I mean, even with what I was saying earlier, I think that's what's going to happen. I think when whatever the fallout is, you're going to have a few other schools that become more that are in the Eastern time zone or closer to Georgia State, closer to the more active members in the Sun Belt East. The Jimmy Madison's, Old Dominion's, Appalachian State, Marshall, which seem to have a lot of interest in bettering the conference or the division as a whole. So if things kind of get blown up and in Eastern Kentucky, Eastern Carolina, or some of the other schools are looking for a new home rather than turning this Sun Belt into some like 16, 18 team super conference at the G5 level, I think they would rather have, like I said, 8 to 10 teams on the Eastern side, stretching from Virginia down through Alabama and keeping it a truly East Coast conference.
Yeah. You got to think too, like,
as a truly Southeast conference.
the Southeastern Sunbelt Conference. I was kidding. You got to think too, like, as media deals change, I don't know, Sunbelt could become more attractive to East Carolina. They're maybe they won't be happy staying in the American. Hey, this costs more money for travel. The Sunbelt's close enough media revenue. Why not go there?
As long as exit fees are what they are and media deals are what they are, ECU is not leaving the American right now because it would cost them, I don't know, $10 million to leave. They're currently making $7 million a year. And they just we talked about it, last week. The Sun Belt paid out $1.7 million per school, so they would have to pay more than a year's media deal to come into a place making less than a third of it. So until the money changes, they're not going to move
Right.
any. Even if ECU fans and president, administrators thought that Sunbelt's the better place for them to be right now, the money just doesn't make any sense.
Right. No, I'm saying
It
down the
would be.
road. Yeah.
It would be a great ad, though. That would be a quality pickup from CUSA, in my opinion. I like ECU.
Yeah.
Good color.
Oh God.
I don't know about that.
We have too
God,
much purple as well.
ECU, and JMU playing. It's just like, whoa, too much
Grimace versus
purple.
It's
versus
like I
Barney.
hate it. It's garbage, but man, it's a pretty game.
Please do alternate colors that week.
Right?
I don't really mean to get into realignment and all that kind of talk.
Is
but,
there any realignment talk like simmering out there?
I mean, just Texas State still sitting right there on that cusp, thinking that they'll be the Pac edition. Pac is trying to figure out what the hell they're going on, what they got going on, who they're going to add. They still need one more football member to join by next year or something like that.
Is it going to be? Is it going to be your favorite team joining for sure?
No, there's nothing. There's no invitations out there, but there's just a lot of smoke. And I think that they're still waiting on their 2026 media deal. They got their 2025 media deal announced, which they were supposedly negotiating in conjunction with their 2026 and beyond media deal. And I guess waiting to see what that is before teams like or programs like Memphis and Tulane, which are far more desirable,
right,
even to a West Coast conference than Texas State. But that's the kind of fallback program. I mean, if rumors and internet rumors are to be believed. So
They are, right? You got to believe all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was interesting talking about the American, just like teams moving and media deals. I know that, I guess it was last month. I don't think we talked about it. Maybe it was a month before. I know that the AAC, basically they want, the minimum is $10 million for, I think, revenue sharing with student athletes that all members have to attain. I don't know if the Sun Belt's going to have a minimum that we're going to do, or if we're going to have one at all. I don't know what the Sun Belt's up to, but I
think
remember reading that.
I think if you have a minimum school payout to players, then you're going to have some schools either looking to drop out of the conference or you'll have presidents that don't vote for it. I mean, I can't see. I mean, they get harped on all the time, but I can't see a Monroe.
No, they said it.
I can't see a Monroe voting.
No.
A Monroe president or AD voting in favor of having a minimum payout. I mean, they're just now looking at student fees to help cover their costs. They only have like 8,000 students or something either as well. And right now, I don't see Georgia State being in a position, maybe $1 million a year, maybe.
Yeah, but so what would we do if we actually made it into the AAC? How would we do it?
Well, we'd have to. AD McGee would have to get on the phone and start finding some investors in the program.
Very, very careful.
Very, very, very.
Well, but if we are going into the American, and we I know they only gave their new members like a half share of the media deal, so they're only getting like $3.5 million instead of $7 million. But if we at that point, I'm assuming a new media deal would be agreed upon, and if they're paying out $7, $8 million, $10 million per school, well, you pretty much are throwing every single dollar of that into paying your players.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was that Saban is trying to work on some deal, or he's on board with a plan of having a salary cap across all conferences, just like in NCAA football, $20 million salary cap per school.
Yeah, trying to keep it even play on the field, right? You don't want one school just outspending all of them, becoming like the dynasty team.
But there would still be NIL, kind of in the same vein as the NFL having,
all right,
sponsorships and endorsements. Like we talk like Matt Ryan and the Air Train commercials, and Patrick Mahomes and the what is the Allstate, one of those insurance
Granger and Granger.
They're also not talking about caps on spending for facilities or spending, as I like to harp on, coaches, right? So the coaches probably aren't going to have a spending limit on what you can pay for a coach. So why are we trying to limit what you can pay a player? I don't understand why that makes sense. If you're gonna put a spending cap on the program to keep everybody equal, then you got to put a spending cap on the program to keep everybody equal. Like it won't keep everybody equal if they're just like dishing out money for Sabins and practice facilities. Like,
while I don't disagree with what you're saying in principle, I think it's different from a coaching standpoint and a player standpoint. You're looking at a roster of 50 to 80 guys versus a coaching staff of 8 to 12 guys, and paying one of those guys an extra $10 million a year isn't necessarily going to make your team that much better. But if you get all the elite athletes, like if you're like, all right, you're getting paid $1 million here, $1 million, we're going to give all the best players 10, 15, $20 million each to come play. Now you stocked your roster with the absolute best players in there. What are you going to do with the same analogy? What are you going to do? Have like Saban and Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier and Nick, all on the Kirby Smart, all on the exact same payroll? That's too many Chiefs in there.
Can you
Yeah,
I
imagine?
don't think it translates the same way. I don't think paying a
we've
coaching
talked
staff
about
even
if we could land a Saban, like what would that make our program look like? And I think we all agree that our program would grow by leaps and bounds because that one thing changed, right?
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could make a bad hire at a
Yeah,
big
but we're not.
program, you can make a good hire.
But when we talk about landing a Saban, it is a mythical fantasy type scenario because Saban's not going to come here.
Well,
It's still going to.
so is one school picking up all of the best players. That's
I mean,
mythical.
the Yankees. The Yankees did that
Yankees.
all throughout the
Oh,
'90s.
man.
They had the Yankees were paying individual players more than the entire Miami Marlins and
The Braves
salary
still
wise.
had some pretty damn good players in the 90s.
Well, the Braves were not skimping on pennies either. They
I
did a
know.
lot of good farm.
I just
Uh,
don't like the argument that, hey, we want to like slow down the weapons race or whatever when you're not actually doing that. You're just stemming one group of people who are getting paid and you're letting everyone else who gets paid out of the deal keep getting more and more money.
Again, I hear what you're saying. I don't think you can compare players to coaches in that respect.
I mean, that's fine, but that's not the reason. Like, so just even citing the reasons he said, right? So
Yeah.
if he's saying we want to keep it equal, like that's bullshit. That's bullshit on its face, right? You're not
Yeah.
going to keep
Equal,
anything equal. You're not equal
equal-ish.
Georgia State right now. Sorry.
They
Well,
want to keep it equal-ish. That's all.
but even the same thing, like not having that NIL aspect of it, going to a program like an Ohio State is going to generate. There's going to be more companies that are wanting to have you in their commercials. Just like
Sure.
if you go to the Giants over going to Atlanta, there's more companies that want, because there's just so many more millions of people in New York City, so a larger fan base nationwide, and so people are willing to pay the the place kicker from the Giants a lot more money than they're willing to pay the quarterback from the Falcons, just because of the size disparity of the fan bases. So that's still going to be a problem. I think that's kind of the unspoken thing with the salary cap in the NFL is, yeah, sure, all the teams are limited to 130, 140 million dollars. It changes every year. I've got no idea what it is, but there are certain teams you go to where you can make a lot more money through showing up at a car dealership, signing some autographs one day versus, all kinds of crap like that. And then
Yeah, sure.
also, I mean, not to get into the political landscape of it, but, getting a job with a Texas team or a job with a New York or California team has huge tax differences. So $100 million, contract in
It's true.
California, you could probably make just as much money getting a 65 or $70 million contract in Texas,
It just bothers me that all the talking points are generally like fluff, and then the efforts are generally speaking trying to limit the amount that the people who are actually doing the thing are paid and not limiting anybody else. Like I
the
just
men.
it just gets me the wrong way. I don't know. I don't
So
like
it's
it.
like a bunch of middle managers making lots of money, and then all
Yeah.
the minions beneath them.
So you think
Off the backs of these amazing athletes who are putting on a great
well,
show that I don't watch it for Saban. I watch it for
well, think about it. What if there was a salary cap for coaching staffs, like in the NFL? If we're talking about comparisons of college, whatever, what do you limit that to? Like, what? There may be a salary cap for coaching staffs.
Well,
I don't know. I
there's
don't know.
I don't know if there's a
I
salary
don't know
cap, but
either.
there was a limit on the number of staff you could have, right? And
Right.
I think that's mostly
It's
gone away
gone.
now. So as we've shifted into and so I would say we've shifted into players getting paid, which is I think a positive thing for the players and for I don't know, it's a mixed bag for the sport, but it's good morally. Um, but you've also shifted into coaches getting more and more. So like you can have more and more coaches on your staff. So like, is there a limit there that they should be putting back in place?
Yeah.
But that's not being
Mm.
discussed, right? That's not on the table. We want to be able to put Will Muschamp on the staff as an assistant while he needs a bye year and we can pay him some money. So like he may as well just come over here.
Also, I assume this is the way it is across all of college athletics, all programs, but at least at Georgia State, that I think in the state of Georgia at least, the coaching staffs are all university employees versus athletics employees.
I think
Because I think
that's the
somewhere
thing.
I saw
Athletic
it may have been something that
department.
Ben said. It may have been just something I read somewhere else, that if you actually go and take a look at because uh, state salaries, public employee salaries are all available
Right.
online. If you go and look at any single state, it's the head coach of the flagship university's football team is the highest paid
Yep.
player or highest paid employee in the
Employee.
state, in any state. Yeah.
So there is some interesting news on that front, though. I think it was University of Kentucky has established like a private LLC to be there
Yes.
to run their athletic department, essentially. And I don't understand a lot about it, but I do think it's an interesting concept. And the way I sort of picture it, and this might be totally wrong, is like Piedmont Park is public property, right? Just like
Yep.
the University of Kentucky is,
Yep.
technically. But there's a private conservancy that manages the property that it like raises money and hires employees privately and to do all the work. And it seems like maybe that's what the setup is. Did you guys look more into that, or?
Yeah, I just want to say we talked about this last week, and I'm pretty sure that your response when I brought it up, Ryan, was like, "Oh no, I'm done. I'm done with sports."
I just don't know. I don't know what to think.
Now he's more interested in it.
I actually did that. So Becca works for a political magazine, and I actually sent her that news, being like, "You guys might want to talk about this because it's kind of neat. It's kind of
Yeah.
a weird thing that's happening. It's an interesting thing for sure."
No, I do not know anything new about it, but yeah, that's kind of my understanding as well. Is they're kind of like not really privatized, but they've kind of set up an independent body to operate that aspect of a public entity. Yeah.
They're just, I mean, a lot of it's just trying to find and make more money, right?
Yeah. Well, I think
They're
that
going to need it in the new environment. So like they got to
obviously they
find
need
more of it.
and we're in this chaos period where there's so
Right.
many moving stokes and so many changes between NIL and the transfer portal that you've got to be the first to innovate, or otherwise you're going to end up in last place. And so Kentucky is in a very interesting spot because they're part of you one of the two biggest conferences on all of college sports, but they're also kind of considered at the bottom of those levels, and they want to make sure that whatever happens, that they're still with the big boys. So yeah, let's try to figure out something that works. But it's interesting that they did that with just Kentucky and did not do it for Louisville.
Well, I would imagine it was the Kentucky admin, like the president, probably figured out what they wanted to do there and worked at. So it's probably very local to
Yeah, but
University of
I mean,
Kentucky.
I feel like something like that in Georgia would require the university system of Georgia to approve something
Probably.
like that. And I don't know if Kentucky has the same type of situation, but I would assume it's got to be somewhat similar.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think they're doing it to cut red tape away so they can quickly get to the revenue, right? If they want to do
Right.
something, there's no like university red tape, educational system. It's, well, this outside LLC is doing it.
I wonder if that makes them free of like a FOIA request or whatever of trying to find out information on what conversations have had about for us it's as simple as what games are in the pipeline or what conferences we've been talking to, but maybe they have other things they can do.
I would
don't
hope
know.
that some of that's been thought of, because it would still be like, I mean, the coach is still a public employee, and so any of
So you
those,
can tap him.
yeah. So like, I think, I don't know how they have it set up. That would be interesting. The thing that I like about it, is it's sort of what I've been talking about, where like I think it's weird that public universities sponsor sports that we all just like go and love and watch. Like it's not about the scholarships; it is about the fans going to watch it, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
product that they put out for us, and the scholarships are great, and I don't want to like take away from that, but it is mostly about the fans and the revenue that fans bring into the university itself. And I do think that if there was a next step for peeling off of public university sponsored sports, it would be the privatization of the athletic departments. So, right? I mean, that would be like the
Yeah.
most obvious thing to happen.
Kentucky's
Yeah, so
just leading the charge there, right?
Yeah.
Those Wildcats.
Well, yeah. I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah. Kentucky at least has, we talked about how they're bottom of the barrel for football, but they at least have basketball to hang their hat on.
Yeah.
That's probably their leverage within the SEC is like, hey, you can't get rid of us. We're bringing in some NCAA money.
It's true.
I don't think they care about basketball. I think
That's
there's
a big old
so
chunk
much.
of change.
It is, but I
I don't
think.
know about that. They care.
I mean, I also feel like football already operates. At least the playoff system operates outside of the NCAA. The NCAA has no authority over the playoff system. They handle, weeks 1 through 13, 1 through 14, whatever it is, and then after that, the bowls and the playoffs are all managed by ESPN manages it effectively, but yeah, basketball and the Olympic sports are really the other Olympic sports are the only thing that NCAA really handles, and
For
I would imagine that as soon as football figures out whatever their big break is going to be, whatever variation that lives in, the next thing is going to be the basketball tournament. They're already wanting to add a dozen more teams to the NCAA tournament, and that's $1 billion right there by itself. So they're going to try to figure out a way to do that, and you're going to see a lot of the smaller programs, those auto bids for conferences like Sunbelt go away, or you're going to be even worse. I don't know if it's even worse. Going to end up like App State and just being permanently in a play-in game to even make it to the real dance.
Yeah, that would not be good.
I hope they don't ruin the NCAA tournament. It's one of my favorite things.
It is
And I
probably
feel
the
like
most
it's kinda
exciting thing
kinda
in
like a
all of
safety
college sports. Well, I would say that those first few days of
Those are
March
great.
Madness, I mean, so we just had the Kentucky Derby over the weekend, and they talk about the most exciting 2.5 minutes in sports. I would wager to say that the first 2 days of March Madness are the two most exciting days in all of sports, back to
Easily.
back. Yeah, it's a
And
lot of fun.
everyone's, I mean, it's like the Super Bowl and like the college football championship, like, but for weeks. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like, and the excitement like really sticks around. Even me, like, I don't like basketball that much. I watch Georgia State basketball because I want to see Georgia State win, and like I'm not
right.
interested in anything else about it. But like I still will pay attention to who's winning and losing it because I want my bracket and whatever. Like it's just it's a
Sure.
great thing. I don't know. I like it. Don't
Yeah,
fuck
and
it up.
it's just
I mean, don't break it.
Don't break it. It's awesome.
I mean, I like what I love about so much about the basketball tournament is like there's just basketball on. There's sports that are on, and there's sports. It's playoff sports on, every day. And as we get further into the tournament, I'm kind of like I start losing a lot of interest. I still want to watch the good games and everything, especially if there's a Cinderella team in there. But I'm kind of like I'll watch anybody those first couple of days, and then when it's not on every second of the day, I'm like, a little bit less interest. I like there's always being something on.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was a good long conversation about
It
nothing to do with
was.
Georgia State.
Not
We're
like
even ready
zero.
for it.
We are 29 minutes in. We've said maybe a few words about Georgia State.
We've used the words Georgia State and in there a few times.
We talked about getting stuck in Conference USA. It could happen. I could
Yeah.
see it. What's going on in Georgia State sports, David? We had some
Sports,
games
man.
last week?
Well, we were talking about it before we went on, and I don't know if we want to talk about Georgia State sports after this weekend. Do we win anything? Was there a game that was won by a Georgia State team?
0. No games.
Oof.
Yeah, because
Has that ever happened?
oh, I'm sure. Come on, Tim. We're Georgia State fans. I'm sure it's probably happened more often than it's not.
We lost 7. If you just add them all together, we lost more than 7.
9,
9.
10.
9.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's 3 matches and
Oh, so we lost to Mercer in baseball,
yeah.
and then they went on a 3-game losing streak. And then softball, you say lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Though the Sandy Panthers played TCU and went 0-3 in the
I
NCAA
forgot.
tournament.
Totally forgot about Mercer. Sorry. So 10. We lost 10 games in a row combined with all the sports.
And yeah, so like I know golf's over, or is tennis over? we're
think
we're
so.
approaching the dead zone when there's just absolutely nothing going on.
We're in May. We're done, right?
Well, June is when it's actually
Track
officially
and
over,
field,
right?
right? Track and field's the end of it.
Yeah. I remember when we were good at track and field.
I remember we were good at men's golf.
Were we good at men's golf?
Yeah, we were for a period of time. We were up there.
I don't know. I had a roommate that transferred in from what was that? What's that college in Athens that people go to when they can't get into Athens?
Georgia
Truett?
Technical?
Athens Tech.
Truett?
Athens Tech?
Isn't there?
Athens Tech.
I thought it was called Truett or something like that. Anyhow, I had a roommate that transferred from whatever that community college is down to Georgia State, and he thought very highly of his golf skills, and he was told that he was off. They wanted him to come walk on to the golf team or try out for a scholarship, and he thought he was too good for that. And I was like, well, if you thought that dude was good enough for the golf program, we can't be that good. I golfed with him. He was better than me. That's not saying much.
There you go. So yeah, rough week for all the Panther teams, huh? Softball lost, baseball dropped the series, women's volleyball lost in the first round of TCU, the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they were number 2 in the nation though, so
they have our number, don't they?
Well, I think we're actually not that bad against them. I think going into it, we were like we'd won a third of our games. I want to say that we were 4-8 or 4-6, something like that against them all time, and maybe 3-6 all time going into the tournament. So, I mean, it's not, they have our number, but it's not like we're not competitive in those games. I like it. I think it's still good. We lost the Ferrari twins this season, so we knew things were going to be different, but as much as things change, they stay the same. We still won the Sun Belt tournament. Sunbelt has sponsored beach volleyball for 3 years, and for 3 years, Georgia State has been the champion. Like, it's just they don't change the plaque just the year,
Got some buku points in the Bubba's Cup, or however you say it.
Whatever that dumb cup is.
I like to call it Bubba's Cup because it kind of fits Sunbelt.
Yeah, it's the Bubba's Cup.
Yeah, it's only has the one B, so it is Bubas. Apparently, he was. Yeah, it's somebody that was big into getting the Sun Belt started, or some garbage. But the whole thing, which is supposed to be kind of like to crown the best athletics program across the entire conference, but it's scored in a way that literally sponsoring more sports gets you more points. So there's some schools that I think Georgia State sponsors the NCAA minimum of 15 or 16 sports.
So we have no chance of winning ever.
Of course, Georgia State sponsors the absolute minimum, and then for a while there, beach volleyball was not an included sport. I think men's soccer wasn't
it wasn't.
Because we were in the MAC for a minute, and I think we won the MAC. When did we win the MAC? We were really good in the MAC the one year we were there.
We were SEC for a second.
We have SEC team. No, SEC doesn't sponsor men's soccer.
No.
We have South
we have
Carolina. Which is so wild to me that the SEC doesn't sponsor men's soccer.
Which seems like it could be like
easily
a revenue sport. I know it's not in college, but like it could convert into it just as easy as like a baseball.
Well, so I think that it has to all do with Title IX, and whereas right now, considering that soccer is receiving so much more national attention, I think that if all SEC programs had men's soccer, they could probably generate some revenue out of it. They could probably sell season tickets for games just to build off what's going on. However, you're not adding a men's sport in college sports right now without adding a women's sport that it's got more players on it, because the size of the rosters of football are so large that the women's sports can never keep up unless you just have like a quadrillion women's sports out there. So I think that the cost is not worth it, because they'd have to add another women's sport or 2 women's sport as well, which they should. I think you should sponsor all the sports. I mean, hell, if you're SEC or you're Big Ten, you should be sponsoring every sport that's out there. You should be doing the rifling and the swimming and the one of the Old Dominion's like really good at sailing or some crap like that. Monroe is really good at water skiing.
Wow.
Water skiing. Yeah. So they should be that should be a requirement. That's my new hill I want to die on. SEC and Big Ten should sponsor every single sport in all of college athletics.
Be forced to.
And And whether or not that creates an imbalance in men and women shouldn't matter, right? You've created more of both.
Nope. I want a women's lingerie league in college sports, and I want the
Deal.
SEC Big
Deal.
Ten teams.
I accept your terms.
I have seen enough dance videos during Pledge Week from sororities across SEC programs that I want to have a lingerie league of football teams.
Deal.
Yeah, we're 35 minutes in. We're really hitting that last call button, aren't we?
Ayo.
Well, no, because I feel like
Why aren't there sport?
What does the league do, David? The women's lingerie league.
Oh, I think that thing is well defunct now.
Wow.
what do you mean? What do? They play football in lingerie. It's like arena football, but with women in lingerie.
Yeah,
Ah,
and
okay.
when the Georgia had a team, I think it was
Where'd they
The
play?
right around my
Steam. I think we were the Steam.
Is that what it was?
I think so.
Oh, I'm not sure if that's a good team name or not, but we had a team and like there was a game. They didn't have a lot of like. It was similar to like beach volleyball. There was like 2 home games or something because they only had like
Right.
4 or 5 the entire season. There was gonna be one right around my birthday, back 15, 16 years ago, whatever this was. And so I was like, all right, this is what I want to do for my birthday. Like, I want to go to a lingerie football league game. The league folded before my birthday happened. So they couldn't even make it like 2 games in before the whole thing was just dunzos.
Mm.
But it is weird. There's no sports like football where just a bajillion players on a team, right?
It's a lot. It's a lot of scholarships.
Just in
Title IX
general,
requires a lot of balance on the
I
other
want
side.
car racing. I don't even watch car racing, but I want collegiate car racing. I want schools to build racetracks around their university campuses. And
Like street racing.
My little brother does that at KSU, but it's not NCAA sponsored.
he just drives fast down Cheshire Bridge.
No, they've got this team. It's these weird
Or
little.
Chastain Park. Not Cheshire
it's
Bridge.
not
Was it Chastain?
It's not a
Yeah.
cart, but it's like a smaller car.
Okay.
But they've built it like with their hands from the ground up type of thing, and they go around the country racing these things. It's pretty cool.
Around by the country, you just mean like North Georgia, like the country of Georgia.
No, he's the country of Georgia. Yeah, no, he's
the countryside of Georgia.
well, there is a country of Georgia,
not the Russian country of Georgia.
Oh
do
gosh,
you think there's an
sovereign
Atlanta?
country. It's not part of Russia.
Well, there's Russian people there. Do you think there is an Atlanta in Russia, Georgia?
Maybe.
We should start at Georgia State University in Russia,
Georgia.
Georgia.
They're not Russia, Georgia.
It's over there. It's the same thing. I guarantee you nobody over there listens to this. We're going to be all right.
You never know. We'll find out.
We do have a high international population at Georgia State. There could be a Georgia exchange student who thought that he was going to be going to a school in his hometown, and then he got the flight and was like, why is this going to be like 2 days to get there? That is a funny kind of like just stupid joke idea that somebody from Georgia signed up for Georgia State University and didn't realize it was in America, like a dumb like Borat type thing.
Yeah, I mean it is. I believe that Kazakhstan's like right next to it. So,
no, but it was a former. I mean, Russia owned them at some. They took over them. They were populated by Russia at some point, right? I'm not making that up, am I?
I'm pretty sure the Soviet Union had colonized it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. See, stop trying to correct me. You sound like my kids and my wife.
Well, that makes it more important not to call it Russia, Georgia. It's more important not to do that because of the history. Not less important.
I don't know. Canada's got British Columbia, so
I'd say America, Canada, but they won that war.
There's a little bit of a hostility between some Canadians and some Americans right now, and there's some love affairs between some Canadians and Americans right now too.
They've mostly loved us. I think they still do. Even if they've got a problem with somebody, a single American, they're typically fine with us.
Yeah,
they have that constructive little brother situation where they kind of like I'll talk shit about you, but as soon as someone starts hitting on me, I'm gonna run underneath you and hide under your your loving embrace.
Yep.
Sure.
Well, we'd have to though. We'd have to protect them though, right? Because there's like, well, that's not politics.
We do need to protect them because it protects us. Yeah.
We'd have to, yeah.
Yeah. I'll find out in about a month if they love us. I'll be up in Canada.
You going to Canada? Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Montreal.
Oh, that place is horrible.
Great. Get some
I
poutine.
love Montreal.
Gotta get
What are you
that
talking
poutine.
about? It's great.
Montreal's garbage city. Garbage city.
I'm excited for it.
The poutine with the smoked meat on top, which you don't know what the meat is. They just say it.
You just eat it.
Meat. I'm like, oh, what is this? It's like some kind of shaved, cured meat.
It's meat.
I don't believe it's even smoked.
Smeat. It's smeat.
It's smeat.
It's like I think it's like smoked salami that has just been like shaved off or something. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's good.
I'll definitely be eating some poutine for sure.
Well, yeah, you were before we got on here. You're talking about wanting to drop some poundage. You will not be dropping poundage eating poutine. That's
Poutine
like,
is
literally. You might as well just like wipe it on your thighs and stomach while you're sitting there. It's the exact same thing.
Hell yeah!
Exactly. It's a month away. We're good. At least a month. 2 months.
All right. Do you guys want to talk about a little bit of Georgia State stuff before we do last call?
Well, we did have
didn't
one
we?
single topic we talked about beforehand that we have
not brought up yet.
No.
So
breaking news. Wait, you have the breaking news music?
Not on this app. I don't think I've uploaded it here. Have I? I think maybe I did.
It's breaking news, man.
There's this app is different. Well, it's not breaking news at this point. We found out about it on what, like Sunday or Monday or something.
It was Sunday.
Yeah, but that's kind of yeah.
Anyhow, GSU Parking's Twitter account has announced the closure of the green and blue lots, or the green lot, for the construction of the baseball stadium, which is just so funny that
they
the parking account. I'm surprised I actually followed. I saw that. I'm like, I follow GSU Parking. I must be really hard up to follow Georgia State accounts. But yeah, GSU Parking announced that, and they posted that one of those old renderings of that beautiful, gorgeous, sexy baseball field that we've been looking forward to.
They were like, hey, athletic department, do you have something that we can post? And they were like,
no, go away.
And they got no response.
No, and then they Googled it. Yeah, there was no response. They probably Googled it, found that, and just posted
it. Matthew on our Patreon group, I saw a comment of his on Facebook. Someone had posted the exact same thing, and they asked something about the baseball stadium, and Matthew's response was, "We're waiting for Panther Dining to confirm or deny."
Please tell me they're not doing concessions there. Good Lord.
Oh God. I from the sounds of it, we may not be big. Well, there's not really concessions at Panthersville, and we're told this is basically going to be Panthersville in Summerhill.
I don't understand how they're going to do that. Just like, what are they going to do? Just build nothing? Like, it's just going to be a field, and
they're going to roll
no stands.
We can go out there, like, in the groundbreaking is not. There's not going to be a shovel hitting this ground or a pickaxe in the ground. They're just going to come out with some rolls of AstroTurf and just like kick them down. And they'd be like,
are they going to like zip tie a bunch of tailgate tents together and call that the dugouts?
Yeah,
Panthersville's all right. I mean, they got stands.
I think if we could get 2 to 3 like actual real like tiny sections of seats, like about the same size we have at Panthersville, but actual like seats behind home plate with an actual press box behind it. Everything else, I'm okay with that being built out later on, give room for expansion at a later date. But there was like a big thing was there's not going to be any video board, which
right.
I'm kind of fine with a big video board. But then someone said they heard no scoreboard, and I think if we do know.
There'll be a scoreboard. It's just not going to be a video.
I think that's just a misunderstanding about what's like. It's kind of the whole grapevine type thing, you know. There's got to be a scoreboard.
No, there'll be a scoreboard, just like we have now.
We have a scoreboard that was bought from Costco inside of the box right now that they use. They can at least do something like that.
I mean, a big like wooden scoreboard with light bulbs for
that would be actually kind of cool.
Fine, man.
Didn't
like
we
that.
volunteer to like if they
We
build
did.
out a big that
We'll
we would
man
actually
it.
go? We'd go behind there in like the Wrigleyville, like the Cubs.
Oh,
What is like
hang the
hang the
numbers.
numbers and everything.
By
Yeah.
the end of the game, though, with all the beers we'd be consuming, I don't know
Oh
we'd be
man,
hanging much of anything.
We'll be
well,
hanging ourselves on something from up there.
he'd be falling out of the little square boxes. It's like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
All right,
yeah,
so
this might be a bad idea, guys.
all right, so we're being told that we're going to play baseball on the asphalt. They're going to paint it green and
Yeah, go
brown
old
for
school.
the yeah. So, but here's the thing: did athletics try to fundraise for this new baseball park? Yes or no?
Well, they didn't ask me.
And if
All right.
yes, how hard did they try to do this? Because I don't know.
I'm going to give you my
Ask-
political. I'm going to give you my political question here. My political response. How do you
I can't
define?
confirm or deny.
Well, how do you? What do you define by tried to fundraise?
Like had a campaign,
No,
showed renders, asked for money, made tier levels,
Well,
stuff
you
like
know,
that.
They asked somebody for money.
I'm
we
sure,
know
but
that
like not enough people.
Yeah.
the story, the very very convenient story goes that the day they were supposed to reach out to Hank Aaron was the day that
Passed away.
he passed away, which is so convenient. Which is, but it's very possible because I mean, we all knew he didn't have much longer left, but it was still pretty unexpected when he did pass away. So that's that's believable.
There's also an estate now, so you could just
Yeah,
reach out to them.
I mean, I have been told by a pretty reliable source that there was a donation from the Hank Aaron's
Rad. That's cool.
family. However, just checking Panther Talk today, Ben's talking about how there's been some donations from former alums that will probably keep the Hank Aaron name from being like the name of the field or something like that. So I don't know what that means. I still think it should be called. We already call it the park and the box. There's no reason we can't call it the Hank.
That's
You
true.
know,
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
and just play Hammer Time.
Development told us that one time. We talked about how the Brickyard was not the greatest name, and that we had already said on the bricks, and that it was a callback for Atlanta and all that stuff. And we were told by that development resource, we
Eli.
can call it whatever we want.
But they were going to call it the Bricks.
Yeah.
Or call it Brickyard.
The Brickyard, whatever that is.
But
I don't know what that means. Apparently, they're manufacturing bricks there or something. I don't know.
That did not that lasted one season though, didn't it? I don't recall hearing the Brickyard use it all last season.
I don't know.
They probably did. We just weren't paying attention to them.
Well, I don't get the emails anymore because they don't like me, or I don't give them money.
Yeah.
one of the two.
Might if they asked.
I've actually gotten phone calls. I guess I should actually return those phone calls.
Nice. Well, that's
So-
good.
You should. Why aren't you?
I figure I
Yeah.
must have football tickets and not know it.
You couldn't log into your account. It'll tell you.
That was me with basketball last year. I thought I had tickets until I didn't.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So anyhow, but we have. It sounds like I don't know if we have a groundbreaking date, but we have a close off of parking date, which means that something should happen. We should see some trucks out there. So when do you guys recall when it said it was going to close? Was it here in May? Was it going to be in June? I mean, I assume it's going to be pretty soon if they're putting something.
It was mid-May when they were closing. I want to say the 14th, maybe.
Yeah.
So we went from hearing about it being
May 12th. There you go.
May 12th. So it went from being fall of last year, and we've made it all the way to May 12th of this year. Well, if it's going to be a small Panthersville recreation in Summerhill, then they have enough time to make it before the season starts.
Ouch. Speaking of delayed projects, I was actually getting slightly excited about the MARTA BRT challenge that we talked about a year ago, probably about now. But it's delayed too.
You mean the Summerhill?
Yeah.
Bus station?
Yeah, because it connect to MARTA, it'd be easy to get to the stadium and all that, but nah.
Well, I should let you know, Tim, before you go crazy here. There is a bus that goes to Summerhill that also connects to MARTA right now. It just doesn't have its own lane.
However,
But it's
Ryan,
not sexy. I want the sexy bus.
Throwing it out there.
does that bus go
Is it
down
rapid?
specially constricted lanes that have been ruining traffic around the stadium for the past 18 years?
No.
No, it doesn't.
It feels like it. It feels like it's been forever. They've been just destroying.
I know. I lived there.
Oh my
It's
god!
like now they're almost done, and then they're hitting a bunch of snags. It's like delaying the thing even further out. It's crazy.
Like, guys, it's an extra lane on like 100 feet of road. What are we doing? What is happening? Why
They
is this
took away our
taking
tailgate spots.
years?
They did. That was supposed to be where we were going to tailgate. We were going to do like what
we
Tech,
were, yeah.
what Tech does, where they have like the street parking on the sides that you could sell off as little parking spots on game days. That's where we were going to tailgate, and they robbed us of that.
I don't love that the plan for that area does not include any place to tailgate. I'm like, I don't understand how that could be possible. But if they finish everything in the plan, which I that's why I'm not too concerned about it, because like they're not going to finish.
They're
everything
not
in the
going
plan.
to. No,
they're not going to do that. There's always going to be some empty space there because they don't finish everything. Right? That's fine. But like, there's nothing in the plan that they want to finish that includes tailgating spots for football.
I'm telling you, that lot across from the stadium that was supposed to be a hotel, that'd be a perfect
corner piece.
Yeah, that'd be a perfect tailgate. Put grass there, put pavers down, kind of like Home Depot backyard.
Well, it's like 50 parking spots.
You get more than that.
How many people go to Georgia State games?
Well, how many do you want to come to
30.
Georgia State games? You can't. If you got a max capacity, you can't go over it.
Well, just because everything's being shut down now for the construction of the baseball stadium doesn't mean that area won't have spots open back up later on. It won't be a lot. It won't be as many as we want it to be. But then also, like, it's far away. But
right,
if we were packed out, if we were actually really selling out the park for games, the top of the convocation center is
sexy.
Some primo parking tailgating space if they condoned it. I mean, I understand not really wanting to have tailgating on the lower levels, but being able to tailgate on the top of the convocation center, that is so Georgia State. That is so concrete jungle, urban university, college town, downtown, whatever you want to call it. That's some awesome space up there, and that could be a lot of fun. I don't necessarily want to walk that far away considering where we're at now. But if we ended up there in 5 or 10 years, 10, 15 years, just because the place was packed out, that'd be some great tailgating.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, if we blow up and we need more space, I was thinking you basically close half of Pollard Boulevard north of the stadium. You could just tailgate all the way up and down that, closest to obviously the stadium side. That'd be a good way to utilize the space. And then didn't we buy the media lot or some parking lot? Remember?
I think that's where the closed. What the not the indoor practice facility, the covered. I knew it was a C.
Are they really doing it?
Well, I don't know.
Have they broken ground on it? Would they tell us if they did?
No.
I mean, from the sounds of it, I don't know how much breaking ground is going to be. Just kind of like putting up a large tent and like shooting some nails into the ground to hold it in.
Make it inflatable.
Just rolling some turf out.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that lot would be great for tailgating too. It's got a lot of spots in it.
Well, doesn't Trash Down South, they do premium tailgating in their covered practice facility?
They do. So we should do the same. I don't like saying that, but we should.
That could be a nice little area for Summerhill, an event space for Summerhill as well.
For sure.
To do things. A beer festival. Do a beer festival there. Go there, get shit-faced drunk.
Didn't they do a beer? I swear to God, there was a beer festival at Center Park Stadium right out front. And then kind of inside the gates. I went to it. Yeah. We had a beer festival years ago.
I can tell how successful it is because we don't remember it, and you have vague memories.
Well, if you remember it, you didn't do the beer festival.
I don't think I think you're right.
Yeah, I went to it.
But I think that for whatever reason I couldn't make it.
It was lackluster. I remember that.
I did do a Thanksgiving half marathon that
I did that
culminated
too. Yeah,
inside
a
of
couple of years.
well, they did well, I only did it the one time.
Yeah, but you like
Yeah.
ran in the Braves parking lot entrance, the players' entrance, and then you ran around the
Started out there
corners.
on
Yeah,
Capitol and
yeah.
went there, and I think we actually ended up running through
On
Tech's
the field.
campus, and but then you finished, you finished coming back in and on the field, kind of like doing the Falcons 5K and the Braves 5K. It was cool. It was neat.
Yeah.
But it was Thanksgiving Day, so I had to like leave immediately and go cook. So
Yeah.
that was
True.
neat.
They should do that again.
It should be an annual event.
Maybe we told them we don't want to do it anymore. Just kidding.
Maybe so.
I don't know. Who knows? All right,
All
let's
right.
go. Let's move on to last call. We
I was
talked
going to say
Georgia
the
State to
exact
death.
same thing. Take us out of here, Tim.
And by Georgia State, I mean we talked about almost everything but Georgia State until the end. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. We're gonna head over to last call and restock our bevs first, obviously. If you like what you heard or you didn't, join our Patreon anyway at patreon.com/State of Atlanta. Live streaming access, discounts on merch, group chat, adult bevs at tailgates, breaking news, all of it. GSU Parking, we're going to start reposting all their tweets on our group chat. No, I'm just kidding. $5 a month is all it takes to support us. Become a fan of the show. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Peace.